Hello everyone, it's great seeing you again, and thanks for joining us for this Saturday's edition of Alaska Weather, 13th day of March 2021. I'm Dave Percy, meteorologist with the National Weather Service, and I'll be hosting today's show. Up first, real cold morning over much of interior Alaska this morning. Salsha, the coldest temperature I could find, at 44 degrees below zero for their low, while Chukchitik and Livingood had minus 42, Nenana down to 41 below zero, and Fort Yukon at minus 40. Not bad for mid-March, falling into the minus 40s across the interior like that. Fairbanks, I believe they had a low, their official low was 35 below zero. The record, though, 56 below in 1911, or 53, 56 below in 1911. So it's, I don't remember seeing too many mid-minus 40s in the middle of March in the state, but obviously it can get pretty cold even into mid-March with that 56 below record at Fairbanks. Also, Denali Park, McKinley Park, Eielson Air Force Base, close to 40 below for their low, and farther to the south, Stony there, west of Cook Inlet, 33 below zero. Kenai Soldotna down to 24 below this morning. Willow, Ninilchik, 23 below zero. Even East Anchorage was down in close to minus 20 in some areas. In fact, I believe Fort Richardson was down to about 23 below zero this morning. And for the hazardous weather graphics, we've got the blizzard warning continues there for the Yukon and Kuskokwim Delta, Nunivak Island, for the coastal areas of the Yukon Kuskokwim Delta and Nunivak Island, as well as St. Lawrence Island. Now for the southwest coast there, Nunivak Island, that's out until 9 p.m. this evening. Conditions will improve after that time. May even be starting to improve currently here, but definitely out until 9 p.m. And for St. Lawrence Island and the Bering Strait coast, blizzard warning is out until, 10 a.m. Sunday morning there. And then for the north coast of the Seward Peninsula, Shishmaref, and the northwest coast, Kivlina, Red Dog Dock, and up to Point Hope, out until, 4 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, Sunday afternoon. Otherwise, the western Arctic coast, winter weather advisory there for gusty winds blowing snow. That's out until midnight tonight. And in the central interior there, the greater Tanana area, under the influence of a winter weather advisory, that's out for tonight until Sunday evening. For blowing snow, winds will kick up to 40 miles an hour in gusts, and that'll create not whiteout conditions, but it'll reduce visibilities in blowing snow. Not expecting any new snow, but just areas of blowing snow, reduce visibilities to a half mile or less at times in that area. And then there's a watch zone now that came out this afternoon for the eastern North Gulf Coast, Yakutat, into the northern Panhandle. That's out for Sunday evening. That's a winter storm watch for possible heavy snow that goes into effect Sunday evening through, Monday afternoon. And that's for possible heavy snow as another system moves in, or some moisture moves into the area there with the cold air in place. So you could see heavy snow on the order of 5 to 10 inches in those areas possibly. And satellite imagery showing slow moving system, upper level low still off the southeast coast that kept the snow anywhere from 5 to 15 inches had fallen in the last 24 hours across southern Panhandle there from actually Prince of Wales Island into the Hyder-Stewart area. Lighter amounts up to the north there, but that's starting to taper off now. In fact, the winter storm or the heavy snow warnings ended there over the southern Panhandle. But colder, drier conditions, Gulf of Alaska, Kodiak Island, lots of clear skies right up into the interior, all the way to the Arctic coast. And you start picking up the mid and high level clouds over the western interior with some light snow making it onto the coast. Really, that system, much more of a wind producer than a precipitation producer, the exception of St. Lawrence Island, which carried moderate to heavy snow and gusty winds all afternoon. Winds gusted as high as 71 miles an hour at Cape Romanzoff earlier today, while Tin City had peak wind gusts about 60 to 65 miles per hour. And Cape Newenham up to 66 miles an hour. They had sustained winds at 50 miles an hour, gusting 66 miles an hour much of the day. That's starting to edge down now. And even down to Cold Bay, gusts 50 miles an hour with temperatures above freezing, but still carrying wet snow at Cold Bay. And then St. George had a gust of 56 miles an hour. And you can see just west of the Pribilofs there, cold air coming westwards dropped out of the Russian Far East, so snow showers about to move in on the Pribilof Islands and mostly north of Adak and Atka there. But that front starting to weaken already as it moves eastward, but should hold together enough for some moisture to come all the way into southern Alaska during the day tomorrow and tomorrow evening. But it'll be another cold night over the central and eastern interior again. Temperatures well below zero from, again, Kenai Peninsula, Copper River Basin right up to the North Slope, but milder in the west. And snow and blowing snow St. Lawrence Island and also along the southwest coast, but new snowfall pretty negligible, not much at all for the coastal areas there down into Bristol Bay. Looked like the freezing isotherm was right around Igagik westward to just north of St. Paul Island and below freezing north of that line, and then rising above freezing with rain and snow. Slow changeover to this rain there for the Alaska Peninsula. Falls past carrying rain, Cold Bay, snow, wet snow, and then rain and snow showers out over the Aleutians, especially over the Bering Sea. But cold high pressure you can see centered just north of Eagle there, keeping it cold and dry over the interior into the northern panhandle. As that slow exits, we'll see lingering snow showers, even though the surface low is kicking off to the east. Upper level lows really taking its time moving out of the area there or across the area, so you can hang on to some snow showers, but amounts will be much less, lighter amounts, dry in the north and colder. And again, weakening system tonight brings snow into the Kuskokwim Valley. Tomorrow that shifts into south central Alaska, Kenai Peninsula, southern or east or western Susitna Valley. Farther south there, the better chance for a little bit of snow. And probably not much into the Matanuska Valley. Increasing chance of snow for the North Gulf Coast, Prince William Sound. And then much better conditions tomorrow out west. Maybe some clearing with light winds for the Bristol Bay area into the Kuskokwim Delta. Snow showers, Yukon Delta coast, those areas. But winds, again, much lighter. You can see that gradient is really spread out. And even for St. Lawrence Island, the Bering Strait, diminishing winds and snow. Unsettled, breezy for the Aleutian southern Bering Sea. And then for the day on Monday, that system low center tracks up maybe to Resurrection Bay or into western Prince William Sound. So that'll keep a chance of snow for the Kenai Peninsula, Cook Inlet areas up into the Matanuska Valley and right on the edge for the Susitna Valley there. Copper River Basin, periods of snow up to the Alaska Range. Some of that could spill north of the range there. And then that system spreads that snow, possible heavy snow, into the eastern North Gulf Coast and Panhandle. Along with warming temperatures, high pressure builds over the western Bering and Aleutians for light winds there. But snow showers, cold air continues to drop southward from the Pribilofs into the eastern Aleutians and Alaska Peninsula. And for the lows tonight, mid-teens over the northern Panhandle there. Skagway, Haines down to maybe 14. And then lower to mid-20s on down to the south. Again, below zero, Kenai Peninsula. Anchorage up into the Matanuska Susitna Valley, maybe not as cold as this morning, but could be down into the mid-minus 20s for the Copper River Basin, upper 20s Kodiak Island, and warmer there in the Kuskokwim Valley. That low for McGrath, 14 below, that's up from the 35 below you had this morning, and 20s, say 25 to 45 below eastern interior, near 20 for St. Lawrence Island, upper 20s to lower 30s for the Aleutians and Alaska Peninsula. Highs for tomorrow near 40, Kodiak Island, lower 20s, south central Alaska, Matanuska Susitna Valley, mid 20s, Prince William Sound, mid 20s to mid 30s for the Panhandle, and 10 for the Copper River Basin, 5 to 15, Tanana Valley, central interior, single numbers to near zero up to the northeast, Arctic coast, right around zero or a little below on the east side, a little above or much above on the west side, mid 20s, St. Lawrence Island, and upper 20s, lower 30s there for the southwest coast with mid to upper 30s for the eastern Aleutians, all of the Aleutians, the Alaska Peninsula. And for the lows Monday morning, a little below zero, so milder there for the Copper River Basin and also south central Alaska, staying in the 10 to 15 or call it 5 to 15 for the lows, lower 20s down south toward Kachemak Bay, mid-teens northern Panhandle, mid-20s south, upper 20s Kodiak Island, mid-teens for Bristol Bay, and 20 to 30 below northeast interior, 15 to 25 below for the North Slope and the eastern central Arctic coast. Above zero, though, for the northwest coast, mid-teens St. Lawrence Island, upper teens to lower 20s for the southwest coast, mid 20s for the Pribilofs, and lower 30s for the Aleutians, upper 20s for the Alaska Peninsula, and highs near 20 for south central Alaska, mid teens Copper River Basin, 35 to 40 for the Panhandle up north, above zero just about everywhere except for the central and eastern Arctic coast.
And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Good morning. Our first line weather graphic showing IFR pushing inland across the southwest interior into the Kuskokwim Valley, down into northeast Bristol Bay, Lake Iliamna, Shelikof Strait, Kodiak Island area, and marginal VFR coming into southern Cook Inlet and Kachemak Bay there, but VFR holding to the north all the way to the Arctic coast. Some IFR south coast or southern half of the Seward Peninsula from Norton Bay westward to the Straits, south to St. Lawrence Island. Marginal VFR Bering Sea and the Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula with IFR, Amchitka Island to Attu. And for the southeast coast, marginal VFR, and then an area of marginal VFR there over toward Northway and Tok, just the north side of the far eastern Alaska Range. That disappears by tomorrow afternoon. And we've got VFR, Copper River Basin, Madanuska Valley, right on up across the eastern interior, expanding to the west as you head north. Just about all the north slope in the Arctic coast. The area of IFR now shifting eastward into the northern Kuskokwim Valley, across the western Alaska Range, just about all of Cook Inlet, almost into northern Cook Inlet, or actually into northern Cook Inlet, almost into Knik Arm, and spilling into Turnagain Arm from east to west there. So IFR into Prince William Sound, especially the southern and eastern areas tomorrow afternoon, Kenai Peninsula. Also now the Bering Strait, southern Seward Peninsula to north shore of St. Lawrence Island. And some IFR just to the south of the east central Aleutians, otherwise marginal for the Bering Sea. Panhandle, good VFR. And that goes back to marginal VFR and IFR showing up now along the coast, especially the north coast, with that frontal boundary pushing eastward and hanging up along the North Gulf Coast into Prince William Sound. IFR, Kenai Peninsula, Cook Inlet, and possibly Madanuska Valley, western Copper River Basin, Talkeetnas, and marginal up to the northeast. Now marginal VFR spilling north of the Alaska Range into the upper Tanana Valley, or actually into the 40-mile country. Widespread area of IFR from the northwest coast to the Selawik Valley, Kotzebue Sound across the Seward Peninsula, Norton Sound into the Yukon Delta and the lower Yukon River Valley area, all the way up into the mid-River Valley area. But the flats, VFR, Central Eastern North Slope, Brooks Range, Arctic Coast, VFR. Marginal VFR out over the Bering Sea and the Aleutians with a patch of IFR there around Adak and Atka and just to the north. For the afternoon, that gives way to VFR for Adak, Atka, Amchitka, Kiska, maybe even Chimney too, but marginal for the Fox Islands, Pribilof, St. Matthew Island, St. Lawrence Island. Southwest coast or the western interior, most of Bristol Bay, King Salmon right on the edge there, VFR, Lake Iliamna, into Cook Inlet now showing up as IFR holds over Prince William Sound, eastern Turnagain Arm, North Gulf Coast, southern Panhandle, and a batch of IFR there from the lower Yukon River Valley, or mid-valley there, on up to the western Arctic coast. Anatuvik, VFR, and again another VFR day. Lake Clark and Merrill, deteriorating conditions, better in the morning, lower in the afternoon. VFR to IFR about sums it up. Same thing for rainy. Windy stays VFR though. You see an increase in the cloudiness. And Isabel VFR, VFR Mentesta, VFR Tanita. Portage though, VFR becoming IFR late in the day. Chilkoot and White VFR. And let's see, freezing levels, not much here at the surface, 2,000 feet way south of Kodiak Island at the surface, south of Chimney-Attu, north of the Pribilofs, and then cutting across Kodiak Island, southern Gulf of Alaska, just to the south into the southern Panhandle. And for icing, we've got possible area of considerable moderate rime icing into the Barren Islands, southern Kenai Peninsula, Fognak Island. Otherwise, not that significant coming into the Kenai Peninsula, and then a narrow band to the northwest there to the Yukon River. Areas of light to very isolated moderate rime or mixed icing over the Bering Sea, Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula. Jet stream showing southwest flow south of the area. This jet core is south of the forecast area, just clipping maybe the western Aleutians. Southeast, though, 70 to 80 knots along the northwest coast. 9,000 feet, 60 knots out of the west-northwest over the western Aleutians. Westerlies 40 knots, central Bering Sea turns southwest across St. Lawrence Island there, and then southerly through the Bering Strait. Southerlies 40 knots now for the area from Kivalina up to Save Point Lay, light over the interior, and 3,000 feet, 45 knot winds around that low in the Gulf, 40 knots western Arctic coast, and out over the southwest Bering. Turbulence, not too bad. Light to isolated moderate chop, Prince William Sound, west central Aleutians, and from St. Lawrence Island to the western Arctic coast.
So my heart is definitely racing. I don't know about anyone else's. This is the stuff nerds dream of.
10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6,
It's gonna
5,
happen.
4, 3, 2.
That countdown you just heard? We'll get back to that in a minute. Last episode, we saw the epic launch of ICESat-2, NASA's newest state-of-the-art ice-observing satellite. But now that that's in orbit, the pressure to deliver results is on.
Between launch and, the first ground returns, took 17, 18 days or something like this. It's a time when you're quite nervous.
9 years ago, Dr. Torsten Marcus took over as the lead project scientist for ICESat-2 during a time when the mission needed a champion.
You start fighting for a mission over, for 9 years now.
So when ICESat-2 was turned on for the first time 18 days after it was launched, only then would the science team know if the whole thing had worked. And it did. If it sounds like there's a lot of noise in the background, that's because Torsten is being interviewed from a plane 1,500 feet in the air. IceBridge was tasked with the job of bridging the data between the end of ICESat's mission and the beginning of ICESat-2, about a 9-year difference.
The goal is that it would run until ICESat-2 launched and then would have overlap with ICESat-2 as well, so we can get a really long, well-calibrated time series from IceBridge.
As the deputy project scientist for Operation IceBridge, Brick works closely with Torsten to make sure the two missions are syncing up.
The timing was everything during that mission, which was a real challenge because not only do we need to...
Basically what you need to take away is getting an airplane and a satellite in space to fly over the same flight path at the same time and collect matching data is really, really hard. IceBridge was tasked with two objectives: check the accuracy of ICESat-2's data over land ice and over sea ice. They were able to lock in the land ice data fairly quickly in the mission, but the sea ice data...
It was really tricky. We waited day after day. Do we fly the sea ice? It's still on our list.
7, 6,
It's gonna
5,
happen.
4, 3, 2, 1. Mark on the overpass, 0435, 35 Zulu.
Here's what just happened. A plane 1,500 feet up and a satellite 308 miles up measured the same sea ice at the same time. This moment finally linked veteran mission Operation IceBridge's data to that of its new sister mission, ICESat-2. Two projects that, until now, were separate for nearly 10 years.
It's a very satisfying feeling because you do something that is meaningful and in the bigger picture. And yeah, it's very satisfying.
Our search for knowledge doesn't end here. Grace Follow-On and ICESat-2, the two satellite missions that launched this year, will continue to bring in incredible data for the foreseeable future. The steady drumbeat of campaigns in the field goes on, but most of all, the people who look for answers will never stop searching. And from our perspective, it's pretty clear why. What is your favorite planet in the solar system?
My favorite planet is the planet Earth.
What? Earth? Really?
The Earth, obviously.
Favorite planet in the solar system? Earth, right? We live on it. It's a really important one.
Favorite planet is Earth.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Why?
when you look out at the other planets, they're absolutely fascinating. They've got all sorts of interesting systems going on. They've got dust storms, But then when you're on another planet, looking back at Earth, I mean, it's just incredible.
Whenever you go in different places, it looks so different, so amazing. It's just, I love planet Earth. It's just a very special planet. This is our home.
We've seen things far beyond the solar system. But even with all that, even the amazing things we've seen, one of the most amazing is the Earth itself.
It's got to be Earth. It's got to be Earth.
It's got to be here. I like the polar regions of here, of Earth. Yeah, sorry. It's very boring.
Earth is good.
Earth is good.
We live here, it sustains our life.
I'm not going to turn my back on it.
It's got water, it's got ice, it's got vegetation. I mean, it's rich with life. And so studying Earth is a very, very rewarding career. And I think if we were on any other planet, we would be trying to get to Earth as quickly as we could.
And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Welcome back. Looking at today's sea ice analysis. Probably some, with the strong winds out along the southwest coast up the Bering Strait, probably some leads opening up along the coastline with the general easterly direction in the wind, especially from Yukon Delta coast on down. Otherwise, Cook Inlet seeing an continued increase in the ice south of the Forelands there, and also a little bit of an increase in Kachemak Bay. And for the coastal water forecast, tomorrow west-northwest at 10 to 20 knots for the south coast, southeast 10 to 15 knots for the north coast, not too bad wind-wise there. And Lynn Canal, north 25, small craft advisories for that zone. And central inside waters north at about 15, although Stevens Passage looking at gusts at 35 knots. Otherwise, Clarence Strait northwest at 10, seas 2 feet. Small craft advisories in store for Monday for the north coast out of the southwest at 30 knots, 12 to 13 foot seas, and 25 knot south winds on the south coast, seas at 12 feet. Clarence Strait swinging around to the southeast, picking up to 20 knots with 4 foot seas, and Stevens Passage southeast 15, and then lighter winds for Lynn Canal out of the southeast at 10 knots. Prince William Sound northeast 15 tomorrow, same for northern Cook Inlet, but south of the Forelands, small craft advisories, north 30 knots sustained, and northeast 25 knots for Kachemak Bay. Barren Island, southeast winds 30 knots. Small craft advisories for the North Gulf Coast. East winds 25 to 30 knots. Strongest in the west, seas 4 to 7 feet. And then for the day on Monday, small craft advisories now in Prince William Sound. Northeast 25, sustained, seas building to 6 feet. Gale warnings for the North Gulf Coast from the west-southwest at 35 knots. West winds 35 knots. Good for gale warnings for the Barren Islands. Small craft advisories for Kachemak Bay, where winds will be out of the west at 25. And Cook Inlet looking at 15-knot breeze from either the northwest south of the Forelands or in the north out of the southwest. Bristol Bay, light winds tomorrow out of the west at 15 knots, seas at about 6 feet. Otherwise, the Alaska Peninsula, west-southwest, 20 knots, 10 to 13-foot seas. Small craft advisories, Castle Cape to Sitkinak, where winds will be out of the northwest at 25 knots. Same forecast for Shelikof Strait, east side of Kodiak Island, west winds 30 knots, seas 10 feet. And then for Monday, east side of Kodiak, southwest 20 knots, 9-foot seas, west winds 15 knots for both Shelikof Strait and from the area, Shelikof Strait on down to Castle Cape. And then small craft advisories, Castle Cape to Cape Sarachev, northwest 25-knot winds there with 10-foot seas. Bering Seaside, the Alaska Peninsula, west at 20. Bristol Bay, south at 15 knots with 5-foot seas. Fox Islands, Unalaska Island tomorrow, southwest 25 knots. Umak Island, west 30 knots. 30 to 35 knot west winds for Adak and Atka, and then gales west of Adak, 35 to 40 knots out of the west there to Shemya. And then on Monday, Shimiase to Kiska, west winds 30 knots, Amchitka Island, Adak and Atka, all out of the northwest at 40 knots sustained with 15 to 18 foot seas. Small craft advisories for the Fox Islands, west-northwest, 25 to 30 knots, seas running 13 to maybe 16 feet. And for the southwest coast, actually Yukon Delta coast, St. Lawrence Island, lighter winds tomorrow, that's for sure, with out of the south at about 20 knots, southwest 20 for the northern Bering Sea. Small craft advisories for both Norton Sound, or for Pribilof Islands, 25 knots out of the southwest. Norton Sound brisk wind advisory, southeast at 25. And then for Monday, light winds for Norton Sound out of the east at 10. Northwest 15 for the southwest coast and St. Lawrence Island. Small craft advisories at Pribilofs and St. Matthew Island for northwesterlies at 25 knots. For the eastern Wolford Sea coast, let's see, we've got good gales there on the far eastern end, say Kaktovik to demarcation point, east 40 knots, and then the east side, east 30, coming down to 25 knot winds for the central and west coast. Back to the gales from Cape Beaufort all the way down to Wales for winds southeast 35 to 40 knots. Those will drop off markedly on from late Sunday night into Monday. Southeast 20 knots from Wales to Cape Thompson. East 15 for the western Arctic coast, but brisk wind advisories for the central and eastern Beaufort Sea coast for 25 to 30 knot easterly winds. For tonight, that front weakens as it moves inland, but the blizzard warning ends for the southwest coastal areas, Yukon, Kuskokwim Delta coast, Nunivak Island at 9 p.m., but stays out until 10 a.m. for St. Lawrence Island, Bering Strait coast. Stays dry and cold, again, well below zero on the temperatures for the central and eastern interior of the state, and snow showers, or snow changes to snow showers and will diminish over the southern southeast coast, dry and colder up to the north. For tomorrow, high pressure, mostly clear over the southeast coast, and chance of snow moves into south central Alaska and stays pretty unsettled and wet and breezy out over the Bering Sea and Aleutians.
These forecasts are for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating.